on both sides. Craig Douglas right side, the Sassy Grass Green Mopar. He is running in the the heavy metal category. He currently sits in the number 2 spot behind Jesse Nelson, and he will line up against David Deal. Nick and David Deal's LS Swap Mustang left side. All eyes left side of the racetrack, see if they can get that run they need. And they got the finish line for the Deal. 697 and 204, and that will secure the first ever all 6-second Super Street Week. The first ever all 6-second week. The first 6-second average. A brand new record. And a chance at a top 3 overall, so they could walk away with not only an orange helmet, but they could walk away with a Gear Vendor's guitar as well. We'll have to wait and see what the numbers do, but Nick getting a lot of high fives and congratulations, and it is justly deserved. No doubt David will come out of the car very excited as well. Now here comes Clark Rosenstengel. Clark was leading the heavy metal category and had some issues. And it looks like he's going to back up one more time because unfortunately he's continuing to have issues. By the way, Craig Douglas on the other side went 780. That is his best run of the week. Craig trying to improve on 792, and he will go 797. Not a bad lap for him. So that'll not improve on what Greg Edwards ran previously. But here comes your what will be your two-time champion in back-to-back years, this being the second year. This is the El Toro Motion Raceworks Mustang. Now last year, the single-turbo Coyote swapped ride was driven by the father and son team of Blaine and Tom Stark. Blaine had a chance behind the wheel at SIG Week and had slight issues on day one, and they had to retire it. They came back at SIG Summer and won their first helmet. Blaine this year made the move to the 55 family Chevy and got his first all 9-second SIG Week. Behind the wheel of El Toro this time is Lewis from Fuel Tech. They're looking for something quicker than 484 at 147, so it slows from what they ran earlier. As the previous run on the hot rod, I believe it went 477 at 150, if I'm not mistaken. So they were trying to reset the record.
Yeah, that's why you see crazy numbers with low miles.
Their best run of the week so far has been 483. Like I said, they went 477 previously, a 118 60-foot. I wonder if it took a little bit of a bite out of the staging light, and the rollout was shorter, and that's what caused it to slow down. It was a better 60-foot than last time. But 484 at 147, the speed is down about 3 miles an hour. John Moore and Jeremy Ortiz next.
Yeah. No, I mostly just power tour stuff. I haven't really drag raced a whole lot for years, so I want to do it again.
Yeah.
I definitely think this would be a fun thing to do.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
Drag ready for it. You just got to get tires.
Yeah, runs great. Yeah, it's ready to go. I took it down every track on power tour, no problems, including the autocross, which was absolutely insane. It doesn't turn.
No.
Me and my daughter were flying around in the car with their helmets on. It was fun though.
You got to blow the tires up to like 45 pounds or something.
I rate one though.
Jeremy Ortiz and John Moore. Jeremy Ortiz flying to front. That is literally like pouring salt in an open wound. 849.73 thou under. and an 8:31.2. That is John Moore's best run of the week. So Jeremy will rinse and repeat and come back. 8:48.7, 8:51.5, 8:49.7. None of them are any good to help his cause. That brings up Patrick Sisk, 2004 model Mustang, the red car. He'll race Stefano Bimmy. Bimmy in the Nicky Camaro on the right side. The Nicky Camaro, I believe, and he'll go 9:30 with a 9. It's a thousandth off what he ran yesterday at 147 miles an hour for the late model Hot Rod. 9:51, 1:43 for the Mustang. We talked about Jeremy Ortiz. Here comes Brian Acton. Ortiz is trying to get out of the number 2 spot. Acton is trying to hang on to the number 1 spot. So far, he doesn't have the number he needs to do so. If he turned in the time slip he currently has right now, which is an 8:54. Let these pair of Novas do the burnouts. Derek Drake over on the right-hand side, the 63 Nova in Rowdy Radio. If Brian Acton turned in the number he currently has, which is an 8:54 with a 2, and your number 3 guy, Cameron Alley, turned in the number he has, which is an 8:51 with a 4, they would switch places by 0.04 of a second, and Alley would go to number 1. So there is tons of pressure on Brian Acton left side. He so desperately needs a number. He really wants it. He goes 5:37, 1:32, and the left side. And speaking of the same exact thing, 8:49 with an 8/2000 under what's acceptable. As we just said, like pouring salt in the wound for Jeremy Ortiz, and now it happens for Brian Acton. And that will do him no good. If he turns it in, it's a 20-second time slip. 5:37 at 1:32 for Derek Drake. I believe that is his best run of the week, or it's going to be close to it. He went 5:45 earlier. Then I'll bring up CJ Durbin next, left side, and Calvin Nelson. Calvin on the right-hand side, the Pontiac Sunbird. He was your incoming leader in the Sig Week Freaks category. He so far has not made the run he wants. He would like to be able to get that Sunbird into the 90890 category to solidify it. Both of them are in. Taking a good lap nonetheless to the finish line and goes 882 at 153 for Calvin, and that will probably solidify it unofficially as the Sig Week Freaks champion. 5:23 with a 6 at 1:33 for CJ Durbin on the opposite side, and that goes right in line with the 5:22 that he ran earlier. All right, I am being told, ladies and gentlemen, that we do have a few windshield banners for Sig Summer as well as Sig Ward. Those are available They are available at the merch trailer. $9.91 on the right side for Ken Cuttle Jr. $9.96 with a 7 on the opposite side for Blake Bushin. That might be good enough for Blaine to be able to stay where he needs to. Actually, it might be just a tad fast. I'm looking to see where he would end up here. No, that would fall in the middle, so he would be okay, and he would be able to keep the current spread he has. That brings up the heavy metal pickup truck and the daily driver / DYO GTO left side. The Holden Monero made GTO and the Lowe's pickup truck. Pickup truck is now looking for something better than 906. It goes 894 at 148. That is his best run of the week. 1341 at 102 on the opposite side of the racetrack for Travis Beer. So how cool is it to have Titzer and Beer line up with each other? I don't know if you can get much better than that. That'll bring up Dan Dinan. And Mark Arblaster, an all Malibu turbocharged battle. Arblaster left-hand side, the guy who has a chance to clinch the unlimited class, but he ran like a 1060 pass on the first run, so he needs to find something better than what he ran previously in order to be able to hang on to that title. Dan Dinan on the opposite side is looking for a number for something like an 83-84. And he goes 882 with a 3. And on the opposite side, Arblaster will go 946 at 122. I do believe that that might be enough to secure a top 3 spot. That'll bring up Mike Puckett and the Josh Lappins. Josh, who laid down his personal best time last time out. .863 with a 5 for Josh. Can he get into the 50s? I think we'd lose Nick. I think Nick would literally jump over the moon if Josh ran in the 850s. Puckett literally put his Malibu wagon on the rear bumper last time. Both of them on their way, and both of them on good runs here. He goes 862, slightly better for Josh Lappins, 157. 875, 155 for Charlie Sheen, the Malibu wagon of Mike Puckett. That'll bring up Rick Dornex, the 2020 model Mustang. He will line up here against Sean Smith. Actually, it could be Smythe, I believe, if I remember correctly. Sean making exhibition bests in the time machine as he had problems with it earlier in the week, and you see it come off the starting line and shut off. It broke one of the chassis components. Now, Rick's going to make a single shot looking for a 16 at the end of his number, and he misses it by 1,000. He's looking for 16, and he goes 15 with a 9, 1 thou under from securing a perfect run against the 16 bullseye. And for Sean, the car fell silent, and we will have to give him some assistance getting off the racetrack. So we're on hold for just a minute. All right, we are back to action once again. Just a quick cleanup on the 68 Chevelle. Frank Veneziano. Camaro, the twin turbo car that says Buckshot on the plate. And a near perfect 850 with a 3 at 162. That is almost a perfect pass for the class he's running. A 1091 at 119 on the opposite side for the Shelby. And there are quite a few people in the 6 Street Race and Street Race 275 category that would love to have that 850 with a 3 number. Speaking of 850 cars, we are going to see one of them coming up here in just a minute. As Ian Hogshead will come up right-hand side. The Tom Hogshead Disco Nova. This car is a, I'd say, certifiable drag and drive legend car. It has participated in a lot of events with a lot of different combinations lining up here again. Hogshead goes 1088, 127. And on the left side, 1388, 3 seconds slower at 102. Racers and sick warders, please remember that we will give away an over $3,000 value gear vendors unit tonight at the award ceremony. It'll be random choice. If you have participated in Sick Summer as a competitor or as a sick warder, you are eligible to win. If you are not there, we will draw the next chip. So please keep that in mind. That brings up our second place in the Dial Your Own category in the Ford F-150, Robert Hill. He's staging up against the Pit Money Mustang. That is Mike McMahon. Mike is trying for an 8.50 and goes 8.602. No good. That will not help him out. So his best pass will continue to stay in an 8.513.
You got it. Awesome.
A 14-14 with a 1 for Hill, and that will solidify a 19,000th spread amongst 4 time slips. That means Hill has guaranteed himself at least second place. It is now down to Suzanne Rooker and how well she can do.
Hey, the Mustang made it all the way. Here we go.
All right, our next pair around. Another gentleman looking for the 8.50 window of opportunity. Randy Bellahar, the nitrous-fed 68 Pontiac Firebird on the right-hand side. He goes 8.47.0. That will not help him out. Trying to find what he ran earlier. He went 8.54 with a 1, so now an 8.47 is a little too quick in the opposite direction. 13.44.105 for the twin-turbo 68 Mustang, so Bellahar will bring it back. Once again, all run, your lanes are still open. All run, your lanes are still open. Need you back, please. All run, lanes are still open. All run, lanes are still open. .1196 at 117, left side 1072, 128 on the right-hand side. That'll bring up one of our bullseye cars. Left-hand side, Tyler List in the 1971 Ford pickup truck. We'll line up against the 1972 model Chevrolet Nova on the opposite side of the racetrack.
How are you doing? Good.
That's Lynn Farrell's Nova. Tyler left side will go 13.21 against the 16 bullseye. 500's off the number. 106, 11.57, 115 for Lynn's entry. That'll bring up KJ Kroger on the right-hand side in the S10 pickup truck. They will face off against the Mustang on the left-hand side. That is Kelly Ann Slazinski. Kelly competed with us on SIG Week. She bought this car for 6 summer last year and had to work through some issues with it, but has refined it since then and gotten it into the 11. She went 11.88 earlier. What does she do here? She goes 11.79. She picks up 0.07 of a second, almost a personal best, at 1:13 in the Mustang. 10.25, 1:33 for KJ. That brings up Bob Gruber and Dennis Began. This one right here, ladies and gentlemen, is going to have some implications on the stick shift class. Roughly speaking, it should, I don't have the digits in front of me, so it's unofficial, but a 913 for Bob Gruber should solidify the stick shift class. However, knowing Bob and knowing Nick from Streetcar Shenanigans Performance, they want an 8 to close it out. That's why the car is back up here. They will line up against the 1974 Rum Runner Rally Radial car. That is Dennis Began on the right-hand side. So Began will do an 8th mile hit. Gruber's going to try to stick shift that ride back into the 8s to complete his week. Can he back up last year's 8-second performance right here at Six Summer? And he rolls through. He already knows he gets his foot out of the throttle and he'll have to come back. Began goes 5.76, 122. That is his best pass of the day so far. That brings up Steve Resnicki in the 69 model Charger RT next. Steve will stage up against the Ford Mustang on the left-hand side of Dan Evans. It's a stick shift Mustang. Resnicki down right side goes 11.75 with a 9, 111, 14.64 on the opposite side for Dan Evans' ride. That'll bring up a father and son matchup. Dave and Mike C. Dave C., the father, in the 63 Nova on the left side. Nick C. in the 1962 model Impala on the right-hand side, and both of them are stick shift rides. And it looks like Nick was going to get there first, but might have missed a gear, and Dave came around. 11.94, 120 for the Nova, 12.17, 92 miles an hour for the Impala. The Impala was ahead all the way down, and then looked like he might have missed a gear or lifted out of it. And that'll bring out the F Cancer ride of Joe and Rachel Haney, the Burnouts for Boobies Nova. For anybody that wants to donate towards breast cancer awareness, this car, they have raised a lot of money based on all the signatures that are on the rear window. Everybody that donates towards it gets to sign their name on the rear window, and all the money will go to fund breast cancer awareness. This car has won the Dial Your Own category at SIG Week last year. They brought out their new vehicle, a 1952 truck called Roxy, and unfortunately they broke some connecting rods in it on day 0. Joe was going to give it up and go home, but instead he ended up going back, getting the Nova, and they decided to run the week with it with their daughter, Abigail. Mustang's left to the inside is John Galloway. John's going to get there first in this matchup, 9.33 at 151 for the new Edge, and a 13.94 at 101. That's about what Joe and Rachel's car runs on the motor. It'll go about 12.60, 12.70 on the jug. right, here comes our next pair of cars, the 1980 model Mustang left-hand side. That is Timothy Railsback. They'll stage up against the Mopar. The mounting between the got it down in on 10-0. He goes 10-12, getting out of the gas early at 117, 11:30 at 119 for the Railback ride. Then I'll bring up the Barra-powered 1981 Fairmont Futura. You can hear it. It's like, that's not what a Fairmont Futura is supposed to sound like. It sounds like a group of angry bees, and then I immediately start looking for Fonzie, who is not here. That has the Barra motor in it. We'll line up against the 2007 Dodge Magnum wagon on the other side. The interesting thing is I got the lowdown kind of on this. The short and skinny of it, Scott Taylor, who is driving that Fairmont Futura, had a big hand in helping to bring Drag and Drive to Australia. He's done a little bit of everything, including working for Motor Trend at one point, as well as putting the Drag and Drive on the map in Australia. He's actually competing in one here, and it's good to see him here. 1467, 98 miles an hour for the Barra-powered Fairmont. 1344, 104 on the opposite side of the racetrack. And here comes Clark Rosenstengel. Clark, who had to battle his way through a transmission repair as well as a rear end repair in this car. He was leading the heavy metal category by a solid amount, and then had some problems. Clark went 722, 740, and then slowed to a 911 yesterday when he lost second gear. That 911 knocked him back to a 791 average and puts him in the number 3 spot. He is less than a tenth of a second in the average away from getting back in the lead. Clark has not made a full timed pass yet. He left before the tree was activated on the first one, was backed up on the second one, now is trying to stage up here for one that will count. He's in, and this time he will get in the last time, and still has issues. And he will coast through the finish line, 10:53 at 87 miles an hour. That will give him a time slip to officially complete the week. That'll bring up the 1970 model Ford Fairlane left-hand side, the 84 Buick Regal on the opposite side. Lucas Ott in the Buick Regal over on the right-hand side. Left-hand side is John Duquette. The Ivy Green Fairlane. Has the perfect look to it with all green and the hubcaps and so forth. Based on the 8-mile, it should be a high 12-second, low 13-second ride. Goes 1285 or 1295, 105, 1366 at 99 miles an hour on the opposite side of the racetrack for the Buick. Now to bring up the 1986 Pontiac Grand Prix 2+2 stick shift ride in the 61 Buick Skylark. So Brian Atwood in the 61 Skylark, this is the somewhat shorter and more narrow version of the Buick Skylark before they went to the 64 A-body platform. They also made the Pontiac Tempest and the Oldsmobile F85 in that same setup. As I mentioned earlier, the 86 2+2 Grand Prix, this has the big rear window. It was the same as the Monte Carlo Aero Coupe. It was an exercise to get the car introduced to NASCAR. By in case you missed it. Atwood's going to get there first. He goes 11:53, 11:41 for the stick shift Pontiac. And speaking of Pontiacs, we'll bring up two more. The nitrous-fed Trans Am on the right-hand side of the racetrack, and the nitrous-fed Ventura. At least I believe it's a nitrous-fed Ventura. At least I think it is. At 130 miles an hour with a pretty solid wheel stand. 11:28 at 118 for the 4th Gen Trans Am on the opposite side of the racetrack. That was Jason Shirai. And that's what you do when your car does big wheelies. You hand out high fives like they're candy canes at Christmas. That'll bring up one of our top 4 in Pro Dial Your Own next, the Z06 Corvette left-hand side. This is Rocco Durago. Rocco has been running between 9:56.2 and 9:56. And he does. 9:57 with an 8 at 1:43. And they say, yep, we know that that's the number we needed. That'll secure their spread. So they know that they currently have the same spread that they came in with, which the difference is 44 thousandths of a second. That'll give them a top 5 finish. It's just dependent on where everybody else does. That'll bring up the pickup truck, one of our bullseye competitors left side, against the stick shift Maverick over on the right side. But he also went 12-16 with a 2. So he's got a pretty good lock on top spot there. That'll bring up Josh Lester next. Lester in his high school car, the 1978 model Olds Cutlass. Now this is a pure Oldsmobile setup. It does have an Oldsmobile engine with a single turbo on board. And if the name Lester sounds familiar, this guy also has a blue 1993 Cutlass that is a Pro Stock style version. So it has the front to rear wheel drive conversion, the big tires, and it's run like 890.90, and he's competed with it the last 2 years in Pro Dial Your Own. He brought out the small tire stock suspension hot rod this time. He'll line up against the Hellcat Charger on the opposite side of the racetrack. That is Eric Messina, 887 at 149. I think it's going to be among Josh's best run of the week so far. 11:01, 124 for Eric's ride. I think Josh ran like a 9:0 at the beginning of the week, and he has chipped away at the 8 since then. Still with a lot of cars sitting in the lanes for the all-run. A lot of people are still wanting to come back and make another shot to try to solidify or improve their position. I see all 3 members of the Kurzak family, and it looks like Jeff will be the first to come out with his Godzilla-powered Fox Mustang. And he will line up with incoming Dial Your Own winner and the Deer Bodywork added Suzanne Rooker in the Cadillac. Let's see, what does it say on the side window this time? It says, I'm dreaming, I can't see what the rest says. She's crossing her fingers. She says, I need to get this run here. So Suzanne right now is 11 thousandths of a second from her 3 runs, quickest to slowest. And Sean is saying something that he doesn't like. Oh, she might be dripping something, I believe is what I'm seeing. So that's a safety factor. If she is dripping something, then that's a safety factor. And all we have to do is just back it up and see if they can get it figured out. She has already made 1 run down the racetrack. So Jeff Kurzak, who has now completed his first Six Summer in 3 years of trying, and his kids going along with him, trying to improve on his earlier 10-second lap in the Mustang, and he will improve by a lot. 10:13 at 1:44 for Jeff Kurzak, and that'll bring up our next two cars. The VW Beetle currently leading their category. That's Chuck Fryer's 62 Beetle in the Corral Red, or the Coral Red, one or the other. Could be Coral, could be Coral. Will line up against the blindingly yellow stick shift Mustang of Dan Watts. Dan Watts, by the way, created the 1-3-4 shift. You say, wait a second, why no 2? Because he grenaded it. And he will do it right there, 9:06 at 1:49 for Daniel Watts. And that'll bring up the Kurzak kids. Nick on the left side, Allie on the right-hand side. Brother and sister following in their father's footsteps. The Fairmont on the left-hand side became the first Kurzak ride to finish a drag and drive. And since that time, they have both had their struggles here. But as I mentioned, this will be the first time in Six Summer history that all three of them have completed it. And trust me when I tell you, all three of them have breathed a sigh of relief I could hear all the way up here in the tower. And Allie just cut the best reaction time of Six Summer history. She just treated her brother by a bunch. It's not going to mean much, though, because Nick is getting to the finish line way ahead of her. 11:47 at 1:13 for the Fairmont, 14:02 for Alligator Kurzak at 97 miles an hour. That'll bring up Dan Jenkins, the 1971 model Challenger. He'll line up another one of our Beetle racers. When we started the week, we had 7. I believe we are down to 4. At least I think I've seen 4 different ones run. This one belongs to Ryan McCoy. And McCoy, nice little wheel stand off the starting line. Goes 1180 with a 0, 113. 1381 with a 5 at 96 miles an hour, and that'll bring up one of the Graviacs. This is Riley Graviak. He's running in the gasser category. The 37 Chevrolet Coupe on the right-hand side, and Suzanne Rooker. Suzanne right now has run between 1318 with a 9 and 1320 with a 0, 11 thousandths of a second. So that's what she needs to run between to solidify a possible title here in the Dial Your Own category, between 1318.9 and 1320. Number 2 has secured a 19,000 spread. So Suzanne knows the job at hand. He has solidified a top 3 final position and goes 1067. What does Suzanne run? 13:16. That is a little too quick, and that'll put her to 400ths of a second. It gets her closer than she was, but needs to come back around. That'll put her at about 400ths of a second and would drop her out of the lead. So no doubt we will see Suzanne come back one more time to try to solidify her first win. That'll bring up the Roush EcoBoost, left-hand side, and the Ford Galaxy on the right-hand side. The EcoBoost left side that is Keith DeLuca's ride. The Swarm of Angry Deeds is running here against the Classic Ford on the opposite side of Gregory Petrick. 1389 at 99 miles an hour for the EcoBoost as Petrick has problems and he is slowing to a 21:13. 100 goes 1397. 102, 1417 at 95 miles an hour. Pretty close to the bullseye. 17 thousandths off the number, but needed to be dead on the 16 with a 1 or better for Tyler Hickson. That'll bring up Terry Scott's 66 Galaxy and our next VW Beetle. Left-hand side is Michael Good. Both of them shifting the gear. And to the top end, 1182, 121 for Terry. And Michael will make good on a 1373 at 94 miles an hour. Racers, listen up, please. Competitors, listen up, please. You have 10 minutes remaining to make it into the staging lanes. Racers, you have 10 minutes remaining to make it into the staging lanes. That'll bring up the 55 Chevy next on the right-hand side of the racetrack. That is Cody Bailey, sleeper Chevy. Wait a minute, my Hellcat's not getting there first. 11-12 left side at 124, 10-25 for the classic heavy Chevy. Then I'll bring up the wheel-standing Cutlass. And the 5th generation Chevrolet coming out. This is Brett Attila. I had a chance to talk to him last year at one of the checkpoints. Brett was trying to get this thing figured out from being a bracket car to being a successful drag and drive car. It definitely still has the gearing in the right location as far as how it leaves the starting line. The last 2 runs, it's done wheelies so high that it bounces when it comes back down. We'll see if he does it again. Yep, just like last time. Putting a couple of muslins on Morris right now, 1030, 129. And Morris will go through at 1260, 110. That'll bring up a couple of Chevy 2 Novas, but that's where the similarities end, ladies and gentlemen. One of them is going for the low look. The other one is going the opposite direction. 1966 model on the right, 1963 model on the left. The Bad Influence Gasser one. The nose high stand sits on the left-hand side. 1103 at 130. On the opposite side, the 66 model will go through at 1126 at 113 miles an hour for Lance Scott's entry. I'll bring up Eric Lawson and Mike Moore next. Mike Moore in the steadfastveterans.org Ficklefish, that's what he calls his S10 pickup truck. It is running in the naturally aspirated category. He swapped engines in this pickup truck less than a week before Six Summer started. Had it all figured out, all buttoned up, all nice and clean, took it out for a test drive and came back with problems, so he had to swap the entire drive line, but still managed to make it here to Six Summer. He will line up with Eric Lawson's turbocharged 1980 model Buick Century station wagon. It does have slightly faded paint, but the wood looks good to me from here, so that means it's acceptable. Once again, racers, you are now down to 7 minutes remaining. 7 minutes remaining to get to the lanes. If you would like to make one more shot. $11.61 for the Ficklefish, $11.63 on the opposite side for Lawson's wagon. That brings up our... Yes, it's actually supposed to be said Silverado, but I say Silverado because Adam Dory has literally ingrained it in my head. Actually, I just don't want to get whipped by Adam Dory anymore because if I say it wrong, he abuses me until I say it correctly. And he's not even here, and I still have to say it right. he sends me into the dungeon or something like that. So Lips back with the Dodge Charger and the diesel pickup truck on the left-hand side. That's Dustin West. Flat with a 9 for the Hell Kitty, 1060 with a 0 for the diesel. And that will bring up, wow, look at who we have staged up right here. A couple of gentlemen who both won a #1 finish. Now, the interesting thing is they are running in different categories, but both of them have 850 limitations. Jeremy Ortiz, right side, the hybrid Nissan 240. Left-hand side, Brian Acton, the defending 6 summer champion in 6 street race. Both of these drivers have run 8.50 once in their lifetime. They need it right now, better than any time to get it. The numbers at the 8 make it seem like Acton is going to be too quick, and he is, and Jeremy runs too slow. 8:55.4 at 1:55, and 8:49 with a 7. That is the second time. That is the second time that Acton has gone too quick. He just went 8:49 with an 8. Now he backs it up with an 8:49 with a 7. He needs to go the other way. And Jeremy is running out of chances. That is his slowest pass of the day so far, and it makes me think he climbed on the brakes possibly because he only went 155 miles an hour. But an 8:55 with a 4 will not work. He has an 8:51.5, and that's not good enough. So you need to run 8:50. Because his competitor's already gone 8:51.3, and he's leading Jeremy. 63 Nova Derek Drake running in Rowdy Radio, and he just spun the tires a little bit, so he will not improve on his run. On the opposite side is Travis Beer, and Travis is going to roll slowly down the racetrack to go 14:03 at 73 miles an hour. Racers, you have 3 minutes to come back to the lanes. 3 minutes to come back to the lanes, please. 3 minutes to come back to the lanes. The Sick the Mag merchandise trailer will close in 20 minutes at 9 o'clock. Sick the Mag merchandise trailer will close at 20 minutes. So if you would like to grab your last 6 summer stuff, including 6 summer Rick Dorn left side. Goes 11:22 with a 6. He's now 600ths off the bullseye after going under it by 1,000th, so that won't help him. 10:52 on the opposite side. And here comes Mike McMahon.
Yeah, they're not running anymore.
McMahon, based on a couple of thousands, unofficially right now, is leading the Street Race 275 category with the Pit Money Mustang. He is lined up with the Bullseye Racer, Alex Algard, the 2005 GMC. The hammer is home. McMahon goes 8.500 and he's rocking it. He goes 8.46.0. That's way too quick. He's 400 under the number, and he can't turn that in. 12:37.9 will be 0.2 off the bullseye, so that does not help Alec out either. Racers, 1 minute remaining. Racers, 1 minute remaining. If you want to get to the lanes, racers, 1 minute left. 1 minute left. So this could be the last shot for these two drivers. Tyler List in the Ford pickup truck. Dan Dinan, the 79 Malibu, came in the number 4 spot in Pro Dial Your Own. He has gone between 878 with a 7 and 883 with a 5. He would like to be able to narrow his margin a little bit and stay in the top 5. Now he needs to run between those numbers in order to do it. Dinan left side goes 882.9. That'll keep his spread where it was, and he will solidify a top 5 spot in Pro Dial Your Own. $12.99 for Tyler List at 107. Dennis Began in the Rum Runner. The Rowdy Radial 74 Dodge Dart, and that will stage him against Bangin' Bob Gruber in the stick shift Mustang. This could be Bob's last shot. As the lanes, ladies and gentlemen, are now closed. Lanes have now closed. Racers, lanes have now closed. Do not enter the staging lanes. Racers, lanes have now closed. Do not enter the staging lanes. We will run what we have remaining, and we will put a wrap on the 6th Summer 2025 edition. Yeah, that's how tired I am. 2024. That was last year. Sean, you got a copy? Call and text just went out. Lanes closed. So both of them in the pre-stage, knowing this is their last shot at the quarter. Both of them in. Tree fires and off they go. We will. 897 at 159, and that will officially get him back into the 8s, and unofficially 2 years in a row that Bangin' Bob Gruber will take home the 6th Summer title. Here comes your final lap for 6th Street Race top 3 possibility, Randy Bellahar. Randy in the nitrous-fed 1968 model Pontiac Firebird. He came in here with a shot less than 5 thousandths of a second off the lead as he stages up here with Steve Resnicki. Resnicki in the 69 Charger RT. So this run, so important to have any chance. Randy Bellahar needs to go something in the 8.50 range to climb into contention. Right here, and he's going to go by 2 thousandths of a second. That is deflating. Another 849, this time an 849 with an 8. And that means he cannot hand that time slip in. So Bellahar will be stuck with an 854 with a 1. 1165, 115 for Steve Resnicki left side. Timothy Railsback, the 79 Mustang. He'll stage up with Dan Evans. Mark Mathey goes down right side, goes 1023 at 108 on the brakes, 1455 at 99 miles an hour. For the left-hand side, it looks like Mark wanted to make sure that he made a hit that was above 10 seconds flat, so he could turn it in, and that'll bring up the stick shift Pontiac Ventura. Corey Lagasse in the 72 Ventura. So far, the best run that Corey has made has been 10:48 in the stick shift class. Nice little 10:53 with a 9. That is about 500s off the best pass for Corey during the week, but still a pretty solid run. 11:66, 93 miles an hour on the opposite side. As we are working our way through the final few competitors, as we'll bring up one half of the Kurzak family's kids. This is Nick Kurzak in the nitrous-fed Ford Fairmont, and Dan Jenkins, the 71 Challenger on the left side. Competitors and sick ward. Keep in mind that we will do the award ceremony on the left side of the racetrack in the first section of grandstands right by the tower. So keep in mind that you just want to make sure that you get over there when we are tabulating the final awards. 11:51 at 115 left side. 11:98 at 109 on the right side. As Nick slowed a little, it looks like it's about the split that I would say it would run, unless maybe it got a little rich on the nitrous, but Nick has completed his final run of SIG Summer 2025. That brings up Allie Kurzak, Alligator in the Dodge Dart on the right-hand side. And she will stage up with Suzanne Rooker. Talked about Suzanne a little bit earlier. She is looking to stay in the lead of Dial Your Own. Once again, everyone, the merchandise trailer will close in about 12 minutes. If you would like to get something, it closes at 9 p.m. 13:26 for Suzanne. 13:83 for Alligator. Couple of stick shift rides will come up next. The Shelby GT500 on the right-hand side. That is James Kellerman. He will line up here against Terry Scott in the 66 Galaxy 500. He'll go 11:72 at 121. And the Shelby will roll through 14.99. There have definitely been some sleepers here at SIG Summer, ladies and gentlemen. There's about 3 of them off the top of my head that I can tell you about. There is a 1966 Pontiac Bonneville, a 1965 Chevelle Malibu, and then this 55 Chevy, all of them running quicker than you would expect them to run, thus the definition of a sleeper. Lance Scott will stage up the Nova on the right side. Left-hand side, the 55 Chevy on the final run for Cody Bailey. Scott gets here to the leader. Bailey will not let him hold on to it the entire way. 10:52, 118. 11:23 at 118 on the opposite side of the racetrack. And it looks like Mike and Gus are going to switch places here. Mike has been competing all week, and he is going to switch places with his son in the Fickle Fish S10 pickup truck and let him make a lick. And it looks like the purple Mopar of David Lips will come up right side. 187. 112 for Morris entry. Not bad. Mike, it's been good seeing the S10 pickup truck here. Appreciate you bringing it back. As a couple of our 850 competitors making their last shot at the racetrack. And I believe looks like we have 5 cars left, and 4 of them are 850 competitors battling it out for a matter of thousands. As we came in separated by 4 thousandths among 3 competitors in one, and 6 thousandths separated 3 competitors in the other. So these 2 right here, one of them came in the first spot. That's left-hand side, Brian Acton. Acton is running in the 6 street race category. That is a stock suspension, stock body dimensions, no aftermarket spoilers or anything. The LS Swap Nova. He's going to line up against 275 street race competitor Jeremy Ortiz. Both of these drivers desperately need an 8.50 right here, and I mean 8.50 to the number. And an 853, 855. Jeremy repeats the 855 for the second time, and Acton goes 853 with an 8 and will not improve on his best. Actually, that is a slight improvement on his best. I take that back. He went 854 with a 2. That's an 853 with an 8. That is going to be really, really close on the thousandths. I am not going to speculate on that one, but I do know that it'll be less than 4 thousandths when we're done. That is how close it'll be. Here is Mike McMahon on the right side. He came in the number 2 spot in 275. For most of the week, and then switched places with Jeremy Ortiz and came in here leading. The averages were 853.6 to 853.7. 1,000th separates the 2. Mike would like to make a good pass right here and nail it down. Pit Money Mustang, he is final shot during the 6 on the right side. And he will block an 846.7. No good. He cannot hand in that one. So out of 4 runs, he has 2 that he can pick from. One is much better than the other. The other 2 are way too quick. And it looks like, I think we have 1 more, maybe. Actually, it looks like maybe not. It looks like Cameron Alley may not make a shot here. I'm not sure. I'm waiting to see. Nope. Okay. Looks like no. All right. So, folks, that will conclude our racing activities for the evening.